Lame. Lame, Jeffrey.
Assassin down the avenue. I'm hiding out in the big city blinking. What was I thinking when I let go of you? Trying to break your heart, but still I'd be lying if I said it wasn't easy. I am trying to break your heart. Mike's music method. Come on in, everybody. We're switching it up today. We are doing a Wilco song. It's actually taken off a live Jeff Tweedy session. It's cool. Thank you, Grant, for sponsoring this song. Grant sponsored this song, threw in some coin, bumped the song up on the list. So I'm bringing it to Grant. Handsome Grant, becoming a dear friend of mine, a local to Pittsburgh. So Grant, thank you. Everyone comment below. Thank Grant for bringing you this song. Ooh, if you're new to Mike's Music Method, what we do here is the tabs are all free. What a guy. So go to mikesmusicmethod.com, get all your free tabs. And we are going to do a measure-by-measure breakdown of how Tweedy does this when he's playing it live and solo. So we go real slow, walk you through the whole thing. You're going to nail it. I know all you guys are at a different skill level with your playing, so the timestamps are down below. Do a lot of rewinding or jumping ahead if you're already pretty good and I'm being redundant, just skip ahead. And remember, at the end of the videos, I always do slow run-throughs of the song. So learn a little bit. Once you get good at it, jump to the end of the video, do a slow run through, then double back, learn the next section of the song, do some slow run throughs. And we're doing all of this Jeff Tweedy tune. By the end of it, you're going to be really solid with your right hand picking and strumming. This is really just a strumming song. It's also, the middle section is actually quite a complicated picking song. So as always, boom, check out those Travis picking playlists if you're having trouble with the middle section. That'll help a bunch. I also have a flat picking playlist, but I don't think you're going to need to go through that first. The picking is pretty straightforward. And if you're having trouble, you can always check out my book, Strum It Like a Cowboy. More on that later. I did that abridged little cover at the beginning with no capo, but Tweedy does capo on the 2nd fret. So without further ado, Wilco, Jeff Tweedy's I'm Trying to Break Your Heart. Thank you, Grant. Measure 1. This song's all about the right hand technique. So make sure when we're doing this whole first measure here is constant down up. So you make sure you have a nice smooth down up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and remember capo is 2. We've got an A chord, but we're gonna need to do it with this finger because we're gonna have to go to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. So don't play it this way, don't play it that way. We're gonna be barring the thing here. Now, keep in mind, I know a lot of people have trouble barring this and also getting that high E to sound nice. If you can't get that high E in there, don't worry about it. Just playing those is fine as well. If you get that high E on top, it's a bonus. Not necessary though. What we have here is down, up, down, up. And when we do that up strum, so it's 1 and 2 and, we're bending that 4th fret on the 3rd string. Then we're bringing it back out of the bend. So we have that down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So remember, right hand is always doing it, but the count here is 1 and 2 and I'm bending it on that and. Then when I go back down for the down strum, I'm just unbending it. So down, up, down, bend, normal. And then on the next up strum, we're on the and of B3, I lift it and do up, down, and then on the final up, the and beat of the 4th count, I lift it. So I know that's a lot of information in there, but we have 1 and 2, bend, normal, lift, lift. One more time. 1 and 2, bend it, normal, lift the ring finger, then lift everything. So make sure you're looking at the tab, free at mikesmusicmethod.com to download, free to download. What a guy. And we have, I'll go real slow, we'll just do the whole thing a few times. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. One more time, I think you got it. 3, 4, down, up, down. And just try to get that melody in your head. Da 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 da. Bend, normal, lift, lift. Bend, normal. You're gonna have to do that slow if that's a new concept to you. Your right hand's got to become automatic, and your left hand is lifting at the exact time on the right beat.
Lame.
Second measure, Tweedy goes to an E minor chord here, and he's a little playful with it. Again, a lot of movement, it's simple chord, but he's given some motion. So at first, he just lifts the ring finger, which actually makes it an E minor 7 chord right there. And we've got down, up. So on the up, he lifts that ring finger. Down, up, down. He puts it right back down there. So you have down, up, down. Then he lifts the whole chord, and he does the up strum. And I call this an open string cheat, by the way. I'm going to plug it already, but I've got an amazing book called Strum It Like a Cowboy that takes you all through right-hand strumming technique. And if you're having any trouble with this song, this would be an awesome book. I go through all the different variations of down, up, down, up. We talk about muting, about dead strums, how to do that stuff, down, down, miss, up, down, up. You got all the misses in there. It's an excellent interactive ebook, so check it out. But in that one, a lot I explain, I named it. It's called the open string cheat, is what I call it. And it's when you're simply using this element of the open string, even though when you do it slow, it's horrendously out of tune and sounds bad. But in the context of a song, it's a little cheat to help you transition to the next chord. And when you do it at tempo, it just sounds nice. And you're going to find that all over the place in songs that strum at quick tempos. So there he does the open string cheat. You have the E minor 7, back to E minor, open string cheat, and then he transitions to a D7 here. I think you all know your D7 from the ground up. 2, 1, 2. And he does down, up, and there he lifts his first finger. So you actually get like a D6 in there instead of the D7. And it's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. First time it's down, then he lifts the pointer finger for the other 3 strums. So that whole measure together, 3, 4, 3, 4. Yeah, let's put measure 1 and 2 together here. 3, 4. If I'm a little out of tune, I apologize. I need to get new strings on this guitar. The intonation is wonky. I keep tuning it in between these takes, but it's not helping, so please bear with me on this one. One little thing to note, sometimes at the end of measure 2, he'll do the open string cheat just to get back to the A chord. That's totally fine if you want to do that. I can do the transition quick enough there, but if you can't, just have that last upbeat be an open string cheat, then land on the A chord. Totally acceptable. All right, let's start the verse here in measure 3. We're on the A chord, and you can do it this way now if you want, because we don't have to have that little bend part in there, which is kind of cool. And by the way, that bend is pretty neat. It's the note B, but because he's bending it a half step, it's the flat 3, which is just like putting that little blue note in there. It sounds really cool. Anyway, so in measure 3 here, it's the verse, and here is our strum pattern. We have down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. Again, strum it like a cowboy. you work through that book, and all this would be a breeze for you right now. It's down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. So when we're doing the down, up, you always want to keep this right hand going. I know some people, if you're a beginner, you might want to go down, down, up, or down, down, up, down. You'll just hold your hand at the top. That's not going to get you, you're not going to become a good strummer that way. You really need this right hand to be a pendulum or a fulcrum where it's constantly going up and down to keep rhythm. Even if I'm playing very sparse, I'm keeping this going to get my rhythm rock solid. So make sure you do that. And it's down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. So again, I'm always doing this, but it's just what I'm playing and missing. So I'm missing beat 3, 1, 2, and miss, and 4, and the last and is another open string cheat. So ready, go. 1, 2, and miss, and 4, and 3, 4, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. Take it slow, you'll get it. Measure 4 is very similar to measure 2. We got the E minor, same idea. Down, then up is the E minor 7. Down is back to E minor, then that up is an open string cheat. Now remember, when I do the open string cheat, I'm exaggerating just so you get the cue. But obviously, when you're playing the song, you're using that moment to prepare for the next chord, which in this case is at D7. And here he doesn't do the fancy work on the D7 in the verse. It's just down, up, down, up. And when you're singing, feel free to not even do that fancy stuff on the E minor, right? You can just do E minor, open string cheat, D7, open string cheat. Whatever, just keep it easy, right? It's a verse. Oh, the little subtle colors don't matter that much there. So 4 one more time, 3, 4, down, up, D7. Then measure 5, I believe, is exactly the same as 3. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, with the open string cheat at the end. Measure 6, this part's really cool. Every alternating time on the verse, he goes to the D7 a little bit early. So listen to this, we have... So the count here is, instead of the D7 coming in on the third beat, it's 1 and 2 and 4 and. So it's a little bit early. The E minor is down, up, up. So on the up of that 1 and 2 and is when we switch to the D7. It's got to be a pretty quick change there. 1 and 2 and then right after we do that and is beat 3, and we're going to miss. So practice that slow. 1 and 2 and miss. Then we do and 4 and open string cheat at the end. So it's 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and. I'll count the down, up, down, up. Down, up, miss, up, down, up, 3, 4. Down, up, miss, up, down, up. So we're missing 3. Down, up, miss, up, down, up, miss, up, down, up. And if you're having trouble with the right hand, just isolate it, right? Don't even, you can play just one chord, or to make sure you're super focused on the right hand, don't even make sound, right? Just down, up, miss, up, down, up. 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and again, strum it like a cowboy. It goes a lot into dynamic, and that's also what's going to transform a simple pattern into like a more powerful one. Like you might be doing it exactly as written and how I explain it, but it still might not sound as good as Tweedy's doing it. And that's because of where the stresses are on each hit, right? The dynamic of the beat, of the measure. So you actually want that upbeat to be stressed a little bit more than the rest of them. Down, up, down, up, down, up. I'll exaggerate it. 1 and 2 and 4 and. That was really heavy, but you get the idea. Just by punching one of those beats a little harder than the rest, the whole measure starts to come to life. So all the way through, 3, 4. Oh yeah. Just know on the verse, if you look at measure 8 in the tab, he just holds it. So I think this is like the second or third verse whenever he says, what was I thinking when we said good night? He just holds the A. So instead of doing measure 5, you're just gonna cut that whole part short, and he just lets the A ring out before going into the bridge. And remember, at the end of this video, I have slow run-throughs. So if that's already a lot of information for you, mark the time you're at now, and then go to the end of the video, timestamps are below, where I do slow run-throughs. And I would practice doing a bunch of slow run-throughs with that intro part and the verse part before you try to tackle this next section here. That is the bulk of the song, that intro part and then the verse. But he does have a weird little bridge here, or chorus, or whatever you want to call it, where Tweedy does some finger picking. So let's take a look at that. Boom! Let me interrupt with my Jeff Tweedy story. I'm from Chicago, so of course I know Wilco. Dino, my old college roommate, was obsessed with Wilco, so there's a lot of Wilco played in college. And my brother coined Wilco, the genre of Wilco is shit rock. And I agree, it's like a good term for it, right? It's not real rock and roll, right? My brother's a metalhead. We grew up on, just listening to Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and then he got more and more into black metal and death metal. And so he has termed this kind of music shit rock, which I accept, right? It's a reasonable term. I still like it, but it's kind of crap rock. You know what I mean? It's not real rock and roll. It's not folk either. Clearly they're trying to be like kind of a rock and roll band. So I love the term. Anyways, I was at Lollapalooza, I think, and we were watching Wilco. It's crowded, right? You're at Lollapalooza, it's Wilco. There's thousands of people there. But for some reason, Tweedy's explaining a song, and he goes, "We call this one a whip." And he's like, yeah, and he's talking about how whatever, and he goes, "Yeah, whip, we're still working on it. It's a work in progress, a whip." And then for some reason, it was pretty quiet when he said that. And this guy in front of me, this, drunk or high guy, just goes, "Lame, Tweedy." And like everybody heard it. And so for years afterwards, anytime someone would say something dumb, I'd just be like, "Lame, Tweedy." And now you can adopt the lame Tweedy whenever your friend or someone says something stupid or whatever. Now you have a term. You got a little phrase. That's my Tweedy story. Onward with the song. Lame Tweedy. All right, 9 and 10. This first little finger-picked part is a really goofy transition when he's playing this acoustic without the rest of the band. So here we have an A chord, but I'm going to simplify it. We don't actually need the 4th string. So you can do the 2nd and 3rd string, either ring and middle, or you can do middle and pointer. It's up to you. Experiment both ways depending on how developed your finger independence is and how strong your hands are. One way might be a lot easier for you. So we are going to put those two down, 2nd fret on the 2nd and 3rd string. And I'm going to pinch 5 and 2, and I'm pulling off that 2nd fret. And immediately on that pull off, and I'm doing that with thumb and middle. Right after I do that pull off, my pointer finger is going to hit the 3rd string. And it's a triplet feel. Triplet, triplet. You want to get that really smooth. This is a really inventive part, but Tweedy his execution is not, you can tell he's not like Townes Van Zandt or Prine or John Hurt. He's like not finger picking all the time. Or maybe his hands were just cold that day. He's a little stiff in the recording, but it's still just a phenomenal guitar part. It's simple. I shouldn't say phenomenal, that's not the right word, but like, it's just clever. It's easy, but very effective, especially the part coming up too. So we got that triplet, 5 and 2, pull off, pointer hits the 3rd, right? We got that down. Then he's just hitting 5 and 2 again. Both of them are open. Then we put the 2nd fret down on the 2nd string there, and he pinches 5 and 2 again. So he had both open, then with the 2nd fret there, and then he does 5 and 1, and they're both open. And you can move your middle finger down there, or if you're more kind of classically trained, or just have that ring finger going from other pieces, you can do your ring, but feel free to pivot your middle as well. Or some of you I know are just going to do it all with your pointer finger. That's hard for me to do, but some guys have that super quick pointer trigger finger. Doc Watson did it, Merle Travis did it, so kudos to you, but I can't. My finger just don't work that fast. So I do middle, pointer, middle, middle, and then you can pivot the middle. Triple it down, down, down. I think you got that measure. Let's go on to the next one, measure 10. Basically the same, starts the same. But then the last note's different. Instead of open and open, we have open and 2. So I'm doing the 2nd fret on that high E string. So let's do both of those slow. 3, 4. And I think he holds that a little longer. So sorry about my timing in the tab. I don't know if he's like free-forming it or if it's in 5 time. I'd have to listen again. But just use your ear on that, right? I'm trusting no one's really reading my notation, right? Most people just looking at the tab. By the way, if you're a sight reader, you can go to my flat.io account, and not only will it have the tab, but up above it, it'll actually have the notation, you know, with the notes on the staff. All right, so I think we got 9 and 10 down. Let's go to the next part and measure 11 here. Whew, hats off to Tweedy here in these coming measures. This part is really cool. Really goofy, and even though I said it seemed like Tweedy wasn't warmed up because he didn't expertly like execute it, you know, it's still really cool. It's not easy, so I understand why. And I shouldn't say that. He plays it really well. It's just like he's not like John Hurt or like Merle Travis. That's all that I'm saying. Sorry, I don't mean to offend you Tweedy lovers out there. He's a very good guitar player. Well, maybe not very. You know what I mean? It's all relative. You know, is he better than your average guy down the street? A heck of a lot better than that. But you know what I'm saying? I've just spent like a ton of time doing like, you know, tabbing out this guy, Nathan Salzberg. He's Joan Shelley's guitar player. Holy cow, that guy's like on a whole nother level. So now when I come to like a Tweedy song, it's like, oh, okay, I can play this. So that's it, Tweedy. I'm just comparing you to greats. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Let's do measure 11. So here we've got a really cool blues voicing of the A chord, where he's throwing his pinky down, getting a higher A, just a higher voicing. And then he goes to one of my favorite chord voicings, the A7 like this. But we'll get there. So you can bar the whole thing. You don't really have to, though. We really just need these top 2 strings, 5 and 2. But feel free to treat that like an A, because that's how he's thinking about the chord. So that's the measure. We're going to pinch, I'm playing thumb, and then I'm hitting the top 2. And now there's a couple ways to do it. You can just drag that pointer finger to get that sound. Or you can pinch with your pointer in your middle. Then there we're pinching 5 and the 1, but we're doing the 3rd fret. So again, it's that like A7 shape. Here we have it on the 5th fret, and we move the E string down to the 3rd. So we got pinch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, pinch. So pinching on 1, and again you can brush or pinch with those 2. And it's okay if you also brush that other one, right? You can be a little liberal with those top 2 notes in this measure. You can brush both of them if you wanted to. But it's on 1 and then the last beat right at the end of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and real slow 3, 4, pinch and 2 and 3 and 4, pinch.
Lame, Jeffrey.
Measure 12 is probably the hardest one in the song. We're coming out of that A7 hit. It's tied to beat 1, so we don't play beat 1. Then on beat 2, I'm bringing the pinky back to the 5th fret. Gonna pinch 5 and 1 there. Get that sound. 5 and 1. Then he's transitioning to a D7 chord, but there's a blue note in there. Instead of the F sharp right off the bat, he's doing the normal F. So we got that cool blue note, and it's a bit of a weird change. So pinching 5 and 1 with it on the 5th fret. Then I'm gonna pinch 4 and 1, but I have the 1st fret down. And right after I do that, I'm pivoting into the D7 shape. So it's kind of a quick transition there. Pinching just the 1st fret on the 1st string here with 4. And then I transition to a D7 chord. I do the same pinch, but now it's going to be the 2nd fret with my ring finger there. So it looks like that. Just make sure that feels good, because that's a bit of a strange kind of transition there. So we got the 5 and 1, or open and 5 here. Then we still do the same chord, but our thumb goes back to the A string here. And we're pinching, we're pinching 5 and 2, still on the D7 chord. Then I do the 3rd string alone with my pointer finger. So it looks like that. Sorry, I know I'm stumbling over myself here. There's a lot of information in here. So let's do that slow. Got that 5th fret there, pinching 5 and 1. Then I just move to the 1st fret here, and I'm pinching 4 and 1. Here I transition to the D7, 4 and 1 again. Still on a D7 chord, pinching 5 and 2. And then the 3rd string is alone. And at those final 2 there, I'd probably do 5 and 2 with thumb and middle, because then you can quickly get to the pointer finger. Measure's not quite over yet. We got 2 more beats here. Then he does like a big brush. He hits 5 again, but he's pinching the top one, but he's kind of just brushing up and getting a bigger kind of chordal sound there instead of just a picking thing. So my pointer finger's hitting 3 strings, 2 or 3, it's up to you. Then he ends with just a thumb hit alone. So learn that measure first, right? Before you try playing and practicing with me, make sure you've broken it apart and your fingers know what they're doing, because you don't want to put it to speed until your fingers kind of know what they're doing. And it might be that slow at first. And often get it right, get out the microscope. I talk about this all the time, where you just want to make sure that feels good. And once you do that 20 times, then maybe you add the next beat to it. And even me, I'm like not quite committing to the same fingers every time. So that's something that I really need to think about, to be smarter about it. Like I'd probably, even though I'm doing the middle finger here, I'd probably do the middle again so that my pointer's ready, because that's going to be a quicker, well, I guess they're all quick, right? So you got to think through how your right hand's going to execute it. And another thing to consider is there is no beat 1, right? So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Let's start real slow. So there's no beat 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... I think you got it. Donation pitch. And it's not lame, Tweedy, okay? This is an important part of the video, all right? Stick around for it. Pay attention. Perk your ears up, all right? I've got a whip coming out at you. It's a Mike's Music method. It's the value for value model. The way this works, guys, is I put all this stuff out there for free. It's not really free, though. It takes me a tremendous amount of effort, time, money I put in to get the website going, the gear, etc. But I want to keep it free because there's tons of people out there who cannot financially prioritize, or just can't financially whatsoever put money towards music in their life right now. So by you guys donating, you're buying me time to pump it out there for everybody. I could have a paywall, and honestly, I'm pretty sure I'd make more money. Everyone tells me I'd make more money. I'd probably make quite a bit more money. But I want everyone to be able to access this. I don't just want, the 5, I don't know, maybe be 2% of the subscribers, 1%, I don't know the exact number, but it'd be a small amount of people paying me. I'd make more money, but it'd be way less people actually getting their hands on the tab and you know what I mean, getting the full value of Mike's Music method. And so that's where the value for value model comes in. Those of you who are willing to support me financially, could be $50 a month, $10 every time you learn a song, $100 a month. The value for value is up to you. Search your heart. What can you afford for Mike's Music method? And then by you giving, I'm not making as much money, but we're keeping the content free for everybody. And I hope in the future more people will realize that, kind of live by the honor system. If you can't afford it, please chip in. But that's what I'm hoping for. I want this to reach as many people as possible. There's lots of young high school kids getting their hands on this who clearly couldn't be paying for this stuff if we're behind a paywall. And just people who are hard on luck right now. So you get the idea. I'm done blabbering. The more of you guys give, the more I'm able to find time. You're just buying me time to pump more of these out. I'd love to make it a day job. Really consider the value for value. If Mike's Music Method disappeared from the internets tomorrow, you'd have a little sting of like, man, I wish those videos were still here. The most accurate tabs on this stuff. Mike is breaking it down. What is that worth to you every month? Consider and support. It's all at mikesmusicmethod.com. Onward with the video though. Let's put it in with measure 12. Otherwise, not having that beat one's a bit confusing. So let's start from 12 to, from 11. 11, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's do that again. Well, and I'll count the eighth note. So I'll just count every one because it's a bit easier instead of 1 and 2 and. We'll just count to 8 for each measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pinch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tie. Yeah, go slow, you'll get it.
Lame.
And then here it is up to speed, just so you guys can hear it. Really cool, very cool. I'm kind of banging my middle finger mostly, with the exception of when I move it at the end. But it's up to you to explore which fingers you think work best for you. So we're gonna move on. 13 and 14, you could do exactly the same as 11 and 12. He's adding some variety. I don't know how intentional that was, if he's just kind of feeling it out. Right, so that was 13. Similar to 11, same idea, but he's just breaking up the thumb hits a little differently. He's doing pinch on with the pinky down, 5th fret, pinch 5 and 1. Then he does 1 alone, and then back to a pinch. So it's like... And then he does the 2nd string alone there. 1, 2. And then he does open alone, and then he pinches with the 3rd fret down on the A7. So rhythmically, he's just kind of mixing up what he's doing, but it's the same structure. So let's try that with rhythm. 3, 4. 3, 4. Try it again. 3, 4. Pinch, thumb, pinch, 2nd open, pinch. 2, 3, 4. I think that one's a little easier than measure 11. I don't know. To me, it's more confusing. And then, again, slightly different in 14 here. It's a little different than 12. Starts the same way. Pinch that one, go to the weird one, then go to the D7, move that back to the A string. So all that's been exactly the same, but then instead of doing that ending, he just strums here. He does a D7, then an open string cheat. So let's do 13 and 14 together. 2, 3, 4. After that, hold the remember the rhythm there is and 2 and 3, 4 and rest, and 2 and 3, 4 and rest, and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and. The count in these parts is a little goofy. Put the song in slow motion, listen to it a whole bunch. You can loop me playing it again and again if you want. That's the hard part with these more bluesier elements of songs, right? I just did Death Don't Have No Mercy. Awesome song. I feel like I did great with the tutorial. Not an easy one. But you'll notice, like, even if you can execute all the notes, the hard part is making sure you're doing the phrasing right. And I'm bad at that, I'll be honest. That's my weakness, is timing and phrasing. I can find the notes, execute them fine, but am I getting all the nuances of the rhythm? That's a lot harder. So make sure you're going slow and that you're getting that in your head. One little trick I have is to put words to it. So it'd be like, I like to eat good food. I like to eat good food. And then if I have that, when I get there, I like to eat good food. I like to eat good food. Having that sentence structure in there like helps your brain remember it and how to time it, especially when, like, as these 4 measures all have subtly different rhythmic ideas each measure, and it's easy to forget. But if you got a little sentence, write it down. Print out my tab, write it down. There you go. Pro tips here over at Mike's Music Method. Tweedy. Coffee break, guys. Let's have a sip. I had an uncle. My Uncle Pete. May God have lifted you up into his kingdom. But my Uncle Pete was an amazing guy. One thing about him, I'll share more Uncle Pete stories in the future. But one thing, he refused to ever take a sip of his coffee with the lid on because he thought the plastic ruined the taste. So even if it was burning hot, or he was driving, it wouldn't matter. He'd be like driving with his knee. He'd have to take the coffee out, and sip it without the lid on because the lid ruined the flavor of his coffee. And he wasn't a coffee snob. That's the funny part. He'd be having what am I trying to say? Like gas station coffee, 7-Eleven coffee. It didn't matter. He'd take the top off because he didn't want the plastic taste. We miss you, Uncle Pete. Love you, man. You're doing great. We're almost there. So Tweedy then goes back, sings another verse, but we never go to measure 9 again. So that transition doesn't happen again. And he doesn't actually go to 11, what we just did either, but he kind of does. So if we jump to measure 16, he's taking that same idea, but he's just strumming it here, and it's a little more manageable. So if that finger picking part was too hard for you, don't worry. You can put this in place and never do the finger picking, and no one would know. Well, I would know, but a lot of other people wouldn't know. And here's what it looks like. You got that A chord with the pinky down, right? That big, nice blues A voicing. And it's just down, 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 up, down, up. And on that final up, he makes it the A7. That's on the 3rd fret. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then again, remember that's held, so there is no beat 1 in the next measure. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and miss. And then this next measure here, we come up on that with the pinky back on the 5th fret. So you got 5th fret, down, down, up, miss, up is back on the 5th fret, up. And then when we come down, this is the hard part. We jump to this goofy looking chord. So what's happening here, again, he's going to that D7, but he wants that funky passing blue note in there. He wants the F natural. And instead of lifting this, like the D major 7s, or the D7, whatever. Yeah, major 7. It's like too bright. So I'm pretty sure, it's hard to exactly tell, but I was kind of looking at his fingers, and I think he's just letting that B in there as well as the F. It makes it even funkier. So the voicing is 1, open, 2. And just know we're going to switch it to the normal D7 in a second. And it's so quick that instead of doing this, he's doing this with that B in there too. It just makes it a little funkier. So again, we got 1, open, 2, and he only strums that once, and then immediately goes to the D7. And then he does an open string cheat at the end. But let's talk through that measure. So you've got miss the down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a lot of quick motion there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and think you got it. Make sure you're learning it. Go really slow. Miss and 2 and 3 and 4 and so miss the down, miss up, down, up, down, up. Practice that a bunch, and then when you have, pause the video and you start it again, and let's do 16 and 17 together here. 3, 4, down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. just got the final part here. Like before we go here, there'd be another verse chorus idea or intro verse idea. And then this is like, I guess the bridge. I don't know what you call this part. But he's just banging out the A, and it's down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. So it's just beat 1 and then 2 measures of all down, up on an A. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and that's the part where he goes, I am trying to break your heart. I am trying to break your heart. I forget the other set of lyrics here. But the very last time, he just ends on the up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and he lets it ring with the whatever the lyric is there. And then boom, last time we go back to the intro verse, intro, and he kind of like does a slow fade out. And that's the whole tune.
Oh, Tweedy! Ha ha! Lame, Tweedy, lame.
Slow run-throughs. Your tab is free at mikesmusicmethod.com. You got it open. So we'll do the intro twice, measure 1 and 2. Then we'll run through the verse twice, and then we'll loop the whole thing. So real slow here. 3, 4. To the intro. Verse. Quick D. Go from measure 9. Remember, there's a little pause after the final hit there. 3, 4. Go to a measure 11 here, the tricky part. 3, 4. Repeat. I know it doesn't have the same life. It's kind of hard for me to do that slow and still punchy, but it's hard. Rewind it. We'll actually do it again too. Let's just keep it slow. 3, 4. Is goofy. Take it slow. I know you'll get it though. And 16 with the strum, then we're done. Let's do this slow. 3, 4.
Lame, Tweedy. Lame. Good excuse, man. You can't play the song right. Call it a whip. Lame. Lame, Jeffrey, Tweedy. Quite lame. Lame, Tweedy. Very lame. Lame, Tweedy. Lame. Lame. Lame, Tweedy. Lame. Lame, Tweedy. Lame. Lame. Lame, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, Tweedy. Lame. Lame on you, Tweedy. Lame on you.